you were a dancer at YPass, and how was that transition from your, doing something that you love literally every, I know, I remember how competitive and challenging and like dramatic hearing about like the dance it was at YPass, and just like the whole, what do they call that? The not the department, the dance department was very, competitive, and y'all literally, I know how hard y'all had to work and the toll it took on your bodies for real. I just remember people telling me that. But what was it like transitioning from doing that every day and then going to Loyola and you're not?
It was really difficult. I probably at like the height of my dance career, it was my sophomore year. So when I was about 16, 15, 16, and I was dancing like, I don't know, 10 hours a day. Like we had two dance classes during the school day, then rehearsals, then I went to studio, then more rehearsals. So it was really my life. And dance really became my identity, and I had nothing else besides dance. Which in the moment, like it was good, and for so many people, that's how it is. And dance really shaped who I am today, and I still hold a lot of things that like I learned from dance, and I still like do consider myself a dancer, even though I don't dance like I used to. But I ended up getting really burnt out, which
Yeah.
can
Hmm.
be expected because when you're doing so much, especially at such a young age, I was like, oh, I just want to like live a normal life,
Hmm.
like be like a teenager, like go to football games and all this stuff, like the whole spiel.
Right.
And I realized like the light inside of me, like for dance, like my passion was starting to fade out. And although I still loved it, I started to sort of like resent dance. And I got to a place junior year where I was like, I don't want to resent something that was such a big part for so much of my life.
Yeah.
So I like quit my studio and was just dancing at YPass, which was fun.
Yeah. Hmm.
And like I made it less of like all of my life, if that makes sense. And then I'm not sure if you're familiar, but most dancers like during the summer they'll go to intensives. So
Yep.
like
Yep.
sort of like GSA,
Yeah.
Governor School for the Arts, or like I went to different colleges and did like summer dance intensives, kind of like camps.
Yeah.
And the summer afterwards was the first summer that I didn't do like before senior year. That was the first summer that I didn't do an intensive, and it was the first summer that I felt like I could breathe
Hmm.
and like be myself and just do something other than dance and explore other passions. So I started coming to terms with the fact that I didn't think that I wanted to dance in college, which was hard because I literally had nothing else on my plate. My entire resume was filled with performing. My grades were they were okay. Academics were not like, I didn't focus on that. I didn't do a lot of clubs outside of dance because dance literally took my life. So I sort of feel like I went into applying for schools blindly. I was like, oh, I like dressing up and I like fashion, so let's apply for fashion. Let's apply for business because that's what my brother did. So applying to school was scary because I was like, I have nothing else besides dance. But part of me, like, I knew I couldn't do it any longer. Like I knew that I couldn't push myself to do something just because I was good at it, just because I loved it for so long,
Hmm.
just because other people wanted me to do it. And it was really scary. And I know that I disappointed a lot of people. I remember my senior year dance concert at YPass. I had a solo, and I remember like the last time on stage I came up and I was crying and I was like, what if I made a mistake? Like,
Hmm.
what if I'm never going to step on stage again? And like I had my friends' parents coming up to me. They were like, Nikki, you can't quit, like all this stuff. But in my heart, like I think sometimes you know when something is over,
Yeah.
and you know that like not everything lasts forever. And,
That's
and
facts.
I think that happened with me and with dance. And it turned out okay because I have so many other passions now, and I feel like a lot more well-rounded of a human being, and I have other hobbies and interests, which it's not just, oh, what do you do for fun? Dance. It's, oh, what do you do for fun? Like there's so many things that I can say. So I feel like my life really did open up when I took the leap and decided not to pursue dance just because I thought that was what my plan was and what I should do. So yeah, in a nutshell, that was a really long
No,
ramble,
that's
but
awesome. Yeah, it's
it turned out nice. Like I still do miss dance, but I still move my body every single day. I still do dance for fun. I don't
Hmm.
really take classes anymore, but it's nice because it's just I do what's authentic to me, and that's the most important thing to me.
Yeah, absolutely. That's amazing. Yeah, I think it's important that, you to do what you love. What I was saying, yeah, I agree with what, with um not you can have this plan for yourself, and you can, tell yourself almost every day, like, this is what I'm supposed to do, this is what I'm going to do, but at the end of the
Hmm.
day, like, you got to, you said it right there at the end. You have to know, it's like a balance, you have to know
Yeah.
when you want to, you said that you kind of always knew at the end that you were going to, dance was not going to be your whole life. And when
Yeah.
I felt the same way with basketball. I was like, man, like, I mean, I was like, it was hard because I'm used to
Hmm.
playing basketball every day, not all
Yeah.
day, but, with
But
me,
it was a big commitment.
exactly. And especially, like you said, I didn't play AAU in high school because they had rules against that. But, um, uh, but when I got to manual and we had all that work, and then on top of that we had all our Y pass assignments, and then I had to go
Yeah.
to basketball practice every day. It was just like, after 3 years of that, I was just like, man, like, I cannot do this. Like, I'm just gonna have fun senior year and focus on some
Yeah.
things I want to do. And then, it worked out. Like, I remember I was able to still help out the basketball team a little bit, and,
Hmm.
be there when I could, and to support them, because those are my boys.
Yeah.
Some of those guys, you remember, like Jawan and Steven and all them. It's
Yeah.
crazy. This time has flown. But
It's
yeah, so
crazy.
anyways, it's I'm glad you're able to speak on that, and, confidently, because it sounds you
Yeah.
clearly know what that was the right decision. And that's
Yeah.
important.
I
It's
mean,
easy to.
that took time. Like it's been 4 years since I quit dance, and I can definitely say my freshman year in college,
Mhm.
I was like miserable. I really like considered multiple times transferring and going to like be a dance major somewhere.
Mhm.
So I think like it's not easy to have that transition, and I almost had to like grieve the life that I lost and grieve like the person who I thought that I was supposed to become, and like all these dreams. Like I dreamed of being on, I don't know, on Broadway or just like in a professional dance company. Like all these things I had to sort of come to terms with over time that okay, this is maybe not going to happen. Like I still have complete faith that I'm going to be on a stage one day and perform again, but I think it's going to look different than what I initially thought it would look like.
Absolutely. That's a key point right there too. It may be look, or it's probably going to look different than what you thought. Like, you think about,
Yeah.
a lot of people will just realize, and it's like, it's a I'm not saying, in any perspective, and I know you aren't either, don't follow I'm not saying don't follow your dreams, but
Yeah.
there's definitely a balance between, like, living your life and then doing something, you know full time. Like, you think about,
Yeah.
like, rest in peace, but you think about somebody like Kobe Bryant or Michael
Yeah.
Jordan or Michael Phelps or anybody
Yeah.
like that. That is like, that's literally all they do. But to
It's
have
crazy.
that, but I can't relate to this because they I'm reading Alan's chat in the live chat. Um, I can't relate to this because I don't have that mindset. But I
Yeah.
mean, literally, it's like a driving hunger where if you
Yeah.
lose, then, like, it's just. I mean, obviously, any athlete, and not just any athletes, but, like, the to success, the striving for success all the time is just like, to have that mindset and not let that stress get to you. I can't even imagine. But
Yeah. Yeah.
but
I mean, I think it's not about like not going for your dreams. Like if you're truly passionate about something, like nothing's going to stop you. Like literally you will do everything to get to that dream. But I think like what we're saying with for me with dance and for you with basketball is we knew that although this was a dream, it wasn't our only dream. And so
mhm.
like we could let that go to make space for new things to come in and for us to like create a different life for ourselves. But some people, they're like born and they come out and they're like, this is what I'm going to do and I'm going to dedicate my entire life to doing that. And that's really amazing because if I had something I was that good at and I really loved, like all of my worries would probably be a lot less. Like I would just have to focus on one thing.
Yeah.
But that's not realistic for a lot of people.
Mhm. Yeah. Yeah, and like I said, it's a balance, and you got to be realistic with yourself, and, really come to
Yeah.
terms with the person that you are. But you obviously
Yeah.
did that, and, So
out.
yeah, yeah,
But like I only did dance. Like I never played soccer. I never did any other sports. And like being creative always has just like been my innate way of being. And even after like quitting dance and going on into college, I've really expanded my idea of what it means to be creative and how I can be creative. Because I think for a long time I only like put myself into this box of, oh, you're just a dancer, you're just a performing artist. But now I'm like, no, like I'm a good writer. I'm like getting into graphic design. I'm like, there's so many other ways to be creative than just, oh, you're a good dancer, you're a good artist, you're a good, I don't know, you know what I mean? So I
yeah.
think like as I've gotten older, my definition of what it means to be a creative, it's become more of like a way of life rather than like a thing I can do.
Facts, facts. Go ahead, Nikki. Give us the sauce there. Thank you. That's awesome. Key point right there. Being a creative. I agree. Being in college, I was like, man, like even when I started this podcast, I was like, man, that'd be interesting. I kind of want to do that. But the whole vision of being a creative and the definition, I guess, it really expanded my mind. It's a
Yeah.
way of life. That's a key point. That's fire. I appreciate that, Nikki.
Yeah,
But
of
what's going
course.
on?
Yeah. So since I like went away for college, I'll speak on how it was in like when we were in high school
Yeah.
and then like sort of how I think it is now.
Okay.
So we do have a ballet company, Louisville Ballet. That's like our big professional
I remember hearing
company.
about that.
Like they do
Yeah.
the Nutcracker every year and they perform at the Kentucky Center for the Arts. There's like a lot of small studios. There's more like competition studios, like if you know Dance Moms, not as crazy as that, but like studios that like do competition dancing, and they go to competitions. I never went to one of those. That just wasn't my cup of tea, I guess. So I just never went. There are some like more ballet focused and modern focused. I danced at Louisville Dance Alliance, which is in Mid-City Mall, and they do sort of like everything, but more like modern and hip hop based.
Okay.
So there's like a lot of little studios, but now more so, and I think especially when we were in high school and like growing up, it wasn't taken as seriously as it is in like bigger cities. So there's not a lot of good opportunities for professional dancers in Louisville. That's what I'm trying to say.
Okay.
There was a modern dance company called Moving Collective, but I do not think that they're longer together. There's a lot of good dancers and there's a lot of potential, but I think it's hard to just keep the momentum going. Louisville does get good companies like travel around and they like come to Louisville for dance performances, but I feel like it's kind of, I don't want to say it's going away because I don't think that the dance community is going away, but it's small compared to other cities, which is why like if I were to pursue dance in college, I would have gone somewhere like a bigger city, like a more well-known artistic community, just because like you and Jerron were talking about last week, there's not as much opportunity to like grow here. Like I feel like
facts.
I feel like here in Louisville, like it's a really good place to start and like really hone in on your craft and like learn from the people and sort of be like a bigger fish in a smaller pond and have opportunities to continue to better yourself. But if you truly want to grow and like become like global or just even really well known within the United States, you kind of have to go to a bigger city that has more of a like strong arts presence.
Okay, sorry. Yeah, so you were speaking on a really good key point there. What I was going to say, the same thing, Nikki, is starting out, there's not a lot of room to grow here necessarily. Like I know, especially from the music business point, and that just comes from me having an internship here. The music business here, there really isn't any, but there's a lot of talent here.
Yeah.
And you think about a lot of the artists that come out of here, like Bryson Tiller, Jack Harlow, 2K Baby. They were here, and now they're they moved away, and that's just kind of I'm not gonna say that's how it goes, but because I also know there are a lot of artists here that are still here in Louisville. Like I don't know if you've ever heard of Braxton. He's really coming up, but he's still on the come up, but he's really improved and he's good. But I need to talk to him about what his plans are, if he's thinking about moving or not. But I agree, it's a good that was a good tie-in because there's not a whole lot of, it's like you get so you're saying kind of you get not famous, but you get known in Louisville and then you go grow somewhere else.
Yeah. Well, I think, yeah, and I think everyone like should just experience other places, and especially as an artist, when you're so impacted by others' work, it's good to get to other cities and to see what other people are doing so you can bring it back to the creative scene in Louisville.
Yes,
So I
yes.
think like I'm really grateful for my time like going to school in Baltimore because it made me appreciate home more, and it made me like have more knowledge to bring back and to share with people in Louisville.
Awesome. Yeah, that's a good. So, all right. So in Loyola, what you're studying marketing. What are you doing with that, and what's going on? Tell us.
So I just graduated, sort of graduated, like not really, but it's official. A
Okay.
couple weeks ago with a
Okay. Hold
degree
up.
in
Let me
marketing.
get you that applause. Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am. Absolutely.
Yeah, I don't know. It's sort of, I don't really have a plan right now for the future. I have some ideas, which is fun, but no distinct plan. I'm really grateful because at my time at Loyola, I was really able to explore, like I was saying earlier, explore different passions, and I found a passion for writing. I started my blog the summer before my sophomore year, and I've been writing ever since. Doing different things like YouTube videos. Now I'm doing more graphic design and like, I don't know, different things. But
Yeah.
I've had internships at startups. I haven't had any like big corporate internships because I always have known that I don't really want to work in corporate. And it's been interesting being in the business school, especially in the past year, because a lot of my friends are applying to firms and for all of this, like, oh, I'm going to go be a recruiter. I'm going to go be
Yeah.
like different things that like you can do just right out of college. And I was like, maybe I'm going to go travel around the
Yeah.
world. Like
Yeah.
I kind of right now I'm in a place where I'm like in a lot of self-discovery, and I really want to figure out what my real passion is, because I do know like things that I'm passionate about, like food, travel, spirituality, health and wellness. Um, but I don't have a clear path, which for the first time in my life, I'm welcoming. I think like when I was wanting to dance like that, it was always a one-track mind, and I see where that got me. And so now I'm trying to have like multiple eggs in multiple baskets instead of just one egg in one basket.
Yeah.
Um, so yeah, I don't know. It's kind of hard to say like where I'm at and what I'm doing. I'm really focusing on like right now, especially during this quarantine time, like taking different workshops and classes online to like hone in my skills and to just continue like creating. Like I want to start illustrating and making TikToks. I don't know, like anything
Yeah.
that's just sort of fun and like sort of not like the ideal thing. I'm like, I might as well take the risk now. And like, of course I need to make money in the long term, and I can still do that, like get a part-time job, but I'm not so identified with what I'm supposed to do, and I'm kind of letting it happen, which
Yeah.
is exciting and
That's
scary. And I think my grandma worries about me, but you know, it's okay. She's
as
always
they
going to
will.
worry.
As they will.
Love you, Mama.
Yeah. That's what I used to call my grandma. Yeah.
Aw.
That's lit. Yeah, no, well, it's awesome, Nikki, that you say you're welcoming it, and now's the time. This is a very important part of our lives for self-discovery, or things along
Yeah.
those lines. And I mean, because it's like as a kid, how many times were you asked, "What do you want to be when you grow up?" You know,
Yeah.
and it's like, well, now it's like I'm gonna be me, and I'm gonna figure some things out, and
Facts.
yeah, it's like you said earlier. When I graduated, I was like, man, or around before I graduated, I was like, man, I'm gonna go to Atlanta, or I don't want to get stuck living at home. But then, of course, the virus happened, and even before that, I was like, well, honestly, living at home, at least I'm kind of giving myself a year right now,
Yeah,
and
me
just
too.
kind of stack up some money and get something good going, and then I'm thinking about going back to Nashville. That was every time I go back there, I'm just like, man, I wish I need to be here. Um, but but it's not where I thought I was going to be, but I am, and
Yeah,
I've learned
same.
a lot. I've learned a lot about. I've been studying recently, like marketing and branding mostly,
Yeah.
especially as a
Yeah.
music producer
That's
and
fun.
as
Yeah.
an engineer.
Yeah.
So
No, I think that's a good sentiment of like there's no rush. And I think I don't know if we're taught this or it's just society, but like everyone's in such a rush to get to the ending point. Like there's in such a rush to just figure everything out. But I'm like, okay, well, it is important to like have goals and to like have a direction that you're heading towards. It's okay if it's unclear. Like it's okay if you don't know what you're doing and if you feel like you're walking blindly into something, because that's how we learn and that's how we grow and that's how we cross things off our list and figure out what we truly want to do.
yeah,
And I feel like for me right now, I am like, I literally sometimes I'll write down a list of all the things I'm passionate about. And I'm like, okay, what can I do to get one step closer to this? And it's kind of like a game almost. Like,
yeah,
okay, I'm going to do this for a little bit and be like, I don't really like it. Cross that off the list, do something else. And each thing is teaching me something and helping me become like who I'm supposed to be to get closer to that goal of, I don't know, whatever I'm going to be in the next 10, 15, 20, 30 years.
yeah,
So I think, yeah, just like kind of welcoming the unknown and like keep grinding and like doing the things that make you passionate, even if right now you're not making money from it. There's so many options of what we can do with our lives. And I think I've really like, I try to push myself to not just do what everyone else is doing and to really figure out and ask myself, what do I want for myself? And then instead of like, what do I think I should do or what do I think other people expect me to do?
yeah, yeah. Got to be yourself. It's important.
Yeah.
So where are you thinking about? So on top of all this, you know, we kind of, well, we have spoken about, you know, your arts, your talents. What, so if you're, you know, experiencing or kind of dabbling in different areas right now, what is that process like? You said you kind of maybe like, you know, try it out, check things off the list, but like when you're going in to try something out, whatever it is, what's that process like for you?
It kind of depends, but lately when I get inspired, I kind of become like obsessed with something and then I get all these ideas and thoughts in my head and I just like they literally my head does not stop like running until I get it out on paper or like
Hmm.
whatever I'm doing.
Yeah,
I'm very much a planner. I like to make like diagrams and just like get everything out and sort of like do a brain dump almost.
yeah,
So I think my creative process really is like waiting until that inspiration strikes and then like getting all my thoughts out and then sort of organizing and like delegating what I should do first and then going from there. I'm very much the type of person who needs to be like lit up and I need to have that spark within me to have the motivation to like really do good work and to like make creative things. So if I'm not like excited by something, I don't force myself to do it.
okay.
Unless of course like I have to do it. Like when I was at school, I had to do the homework. Um, but
Not anymore. Not
not anymore because I'm
anymore.
done.
That was I cannot like because that's one thing I will say real quick is when I was interning, like I was there all day every day, and then I would come home and I was like, man, I can just relax and watch some TV, you
So
know, or do my
nice.
own thing. I ain't got to do this. But anyways, continue.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, I really just wait for to be inspired and I really try and surround myself with people who inspire me, whether that be through other creative friends or like the people that I follow on social media or like who I watch on YouTube. I really believe that like the media that you consume and the people that you surround yourself with, like they dictate who you are pretty much. And I really like I don't know, just looking at other like seeing what other people are doing and that might spark something within me to design something new or to create something.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know. It's really like it's become I feel like when I was dancing it was very forced and I just did stuff because I wanted to be the best. I wanted to be front and center. I wanted to be, I don't know, like it was all ego based, but now it's a lot more natural and sort of fluid and it comes in waves. Like I'm not creative every single day
Hmm.
or every single week. Like there are weeks where I'm like, I literally don't know what to do. Like I have no inspiration and I kind of just sit with that. And I recognize that that's just the season that I'm in. And then when like the creativity does strike and I am feeling inspired and I want to create and I want to make things and I want to do things, then I go full force and I'm like, let's just do this. And
Yeah.
I ride that energy.
Yeah, so you said that's I think this a gym you kind of spoke on. If you're not like super inspired by it, you don't force yourself to do it.
Yeah.
Because I've been like recently I haven't really been inspired like to like make beats or anything like that.
Yeah.
I don't know what it is. I guess it's just I'm focusing on the podcast. That's kind of
Yeah.
inspiring me right now. But even last night I just kind of sat down. And I was like, you know what? I'm just gonna listen to some music. I'm really not even gonna
Yeah.
try to like make beats. I've kind of realized like recently that more recently it's just like I spend a lot of time working, at least working with some form of audio. So
Hmm.
I just kind of need to, I've always kind of stressed myself like I'm kind of OCD when it comes to like timing and like scheduling. So I just
Yeah.
have it in my head that I need to do this, then. But now I'm like, you know what? Just relax, man. Like I'm gonna live my
Yeah.
life. I'm not
Yeah,
gonna the
exactly.
balance again.
Yeah, and I think like we do live in such like a hustle culture and like a society that tells us that the more productive we are, the more worth we have or the more successful we are. And that's not to say like I do think hard work will get you places and it'll get you where you want to be. But I think that especially as a creative, it's really easy to get burnt out and
Hmm.
we have to take time for self-care and to just live our life, to be with our friends, to relax, to rest. And also because when we fill ourselves up, then our creative work is going to be that much better. And sometimes when we take like a few steps away from something that we were really passionate about, we need that time off, kind of like a summer vacation almost, to be re-energized by it, re-excited by it, so that we can create new and better and more improved things.
So taking time off is key, kind of. Not necessarily time off, but taking a step back.
Yeah, well, just I think like honoring where you are. And if you don't feel inspired by something or if you don't want to do it, you shouldn't force yourself to do it. Or maybe
Yeah.
like work on something for like 30 minutes instead of telling yourself that you're going to finish it, you know?
Yeah.
So like giving yourself a little bit more grace and a little bit more flexibility because everything comes in waves and we just have to like take note of how we're feeling and how we can give um, our 100%. Like I don't think we can always give 100%. Like I think sometimes 80% is the best that we can give and that's okay.
Yeah. Totally. I like to go for a run, go for a bike
Hmm.
ride, or I'll watch YouTube videos of like
Hmm.
people producing.
Yeah.
Uh,
Yeah, I typically, let's see, I'll like do things that like make me feel good. So I'll go outside, I'll work out.
yeah,
I meditate every single day, so I'll meditate, I'll read a book. I'll like FaceTime a friend. I feel like when I feel it, like a couple of weeks ago, I really felt like I was getting into a rut and kind of I was in just this like I don't know, I was feeling restless and uninspired, and I just like FaceTimed friends every single day and talking to other people and getting my mind out of my own mind
yeah,
really helped me to sort of just get out of myself and like forget about that for a little bit. And then I
absolutely.
could come back and like now I feel a lot better and more motivated and more inspired. So I think, yeah, talking to people and like I also cook a lot, so whenever I like don't know what else to do, I just like cook something or I'll bake something
Hmm.
and then I feel much better.
Let me just
Yes.
throw this to you real quick. In
Okay.
5 years, where do you see Louisville's artistic and creative scene? What we doing? What's happening in 5 years here? What's going on?
I think it's I think every year Louisville continues to get bigger and more like well known, and I feel like especially like even in the past 4 years since we went to college, like there's so many good things coming out of Louisville, and I think people are starting to recognize that in like other cities.
Hmm.
So I would hope that there is more of a artistic scene and creative scene. I know that there's like the groundwork for it, but it's just like, are we going to get that national recognition that's going to make people want to move here to be a creative? I definitely think it's possible. I think Louisville like slowly inches its way to like compete with other cities. Like that are bigger and more well known, but I think that there's a lot of good stuff coming from Louisville and we are getting that national recognition, like you said earlier, from Bryson Tiller, Jack Harlow. And people are like, oh, Louisville, what's that? Like, now they're more apt to come here. And I feel like once people come here and they see like what a vibrant city we are and like how many different creatives there are, they're going to be like, oh, wait, like this place is cool. It's easy to live here. It's beautiful. The people are nice. The food's good. Like, I want to live here and I want to create, you know?
Yeah. So you think you think eventually people are going to be
I think it'll just become more well known, and I think as it becomes more well known, like there's going to be a bigger platform for people to create and for people to expand. And like I think Louisville's a good like home base, and it's a good like I mean, like, we can talk about Jack Harlow. Like, he still reps Louisville. Like, even if he doesn't live here full time, like, he's always going to rep Louisville. And I think more things like that are going to start happening as people maybe, like, move to New York or LA to do their thing. They're always, like, when you grow up in Louisville, like, your heart's always going to stay in Louisville. Like, that's always going to be your home. And I think people recognize that.
But
yeah.
Earlier Julia had a question, kind of transitioning. She had a question about. She asked, are you wanting to make a business with your blog? And talk about that. Talk about your blog a little bit.
Yeah. So, yes. Short answer, yes. That would be the dream. I would love to work for myself. I've always been very like entrepreneurial, and I'm really independent. I like doing things by myself. My blog, which started as a place for me to like share recipes and restaurants that I go to, as well as talk about mental health. It sort of evolved with me as I've grown into myself in the past 3 years. Right now, I talk mostly about spirituality, health and wellness, and self-love, self-care. I still do travel. Like when I travel, I'll do travel blogs, but obviously I can't talk about traveling if I'm not traveling. So yeah, it's also, I don't know where it's at. It's in this transition phase. I feel like everything in my life right now is in this like in between, like waiting for some sort of magic to happen. Like I feel like I'm like a pot of water waiting to boil almost, if that makes sense. I'm sort of just like simmering right now and kind of taking it day by day. I'm really passionate about helping others sort of find the light within themselves and to like really fall in love with who they are and really appreciate who they are and know that they have a choice for who they are and for the life that they're living. Ultimately, I would really love to like work with people, create some sort of community space. I've always had a dream of writing a book and opening up a restaurant. So that is definitely on the horizon. I would love to do that. But I think this time in my life is really about learning and just experiencing things. So travel is definitely on the forefront of my list before I like turn anything into a business, because I feel like I need to learn a little bit more and like to figure out what I'm truly like, okay, this is what I like want to help people with. But yeah, you all should follow my blog if you're into all that stuff. Naturally Nicoletta, Kevin will link it. It's fun. It's really just a fun place where I can just be authentically myself and connect with others and hopefully guide others and inspire others to live the life that they dream of. Because for so long, I feel like I was trying to be someone that I was not, and I felt like I had to sort of put like a facade over who I am because I didn't truly love myself. So that's one thing. Quitting dance led me on this whole personal development journey, spirituality journey, which we could talk about that in a whole nother podcast episode because I have a lot to say about that. But if you are interested in that, I talk a lot more about it on my blog too. So yeah, ultimately I would love to make it my business, but that's not my only, like if it happens, it happens. If it doesn't, it doesn't.
Yeah. So what is this? I saw yesterday on your blog, this Reiki or Reiki?
Reiki.
Oh, okay. So, all right. Speak a little bit about what I've heard of that now that you say that. What is?
I just put out a blog post about it because my friend who's a Reiki master, she did a healing session with me. I'm really into all of these like woo-woo alternative medicine, like energy healing things, and Reiki is just that. It's tapping into this, hear me out, this is a little like some people are really not going to get in. That's okay. But
Yeah.
if you do, I appreciate you asking about it.
Yeah.
It's an energy transfer. So Reiki is really like healing people through energy and through like breathing, and typically like when you do it in person, like they'll touch you like your like wherever you need to be healed, say it's your back, like the practitioner will put their hands on your back. But for me, my friend did it via Zoom, and it was really like a meditation on my end, but she sort of served as like a channel for spirits. Like my spirit guides came in, and or like she had this sense of like things within me that were like off, like my chakras were blocked.
What is chakra?
So again, we could do a whole nother podcast on this. So we have 7 chakras, and they're basically energy centers within our aura. And there's different ones related. There's the root, which is like the first one, and that's in your pelvis. And that's like do you feel grounded? And it goes all the way up to the crown, which is like your connection to source and like the universe and a higher power. So it's just like an energetic thinking of like our energy centers within our body, but it's all metaphysical. So it's not like there's something within us that it's all just energy.
Yeah.
And I know a lot of people probably don't believe in that, and that's totally okay. It's still, when I talk about it, it's still something that I'm learning about and something that I'm fully coming to terms with and like grasping. But sometimes I talk and I'm like, what am I saying? But yeah, Reiki is really just working with that energy to move it and shift it throughout our body. It's interesting, as I've like gone on the spirituality journey and started to really take an interest in all the metaphysical things and spiritual things, I've realized that I've been working with this stuff since I was a dancer. Movement is a really big way to move energy through our bodies and to process emotions. And I didn't realize that until now. Like, I remember when I used to be upset, I would just go to dance class and I would be fine afterwards. But I never like put that together, that you can move your body and you can like move the energy through you and around you. So yeah, it's fun. It's sometimes things like go over my head and sometimes things click. I'm really passionate about like learning about mindfulness and meditation and like living in the present moment. And that's a little bit more grounded and like easier to understand, like just being completely present with what you're doing in that moment and not multitasking, not, like scrolling on your phone and talking to someone and eating your dinner. Like, it's just focusing on the present moment, which is all we have, because the past, it already happened. In the future, it's not real. It's just made up in our mind. So, yeah.
Oh, that's deep. That's crazy. I'd like to learn more about that. I'm trying to do that more, honestly, just be like more present in each moment and try to like, even in times like right now, it's like I wake up, I go to work, and I come home, and I stuff I have to do that I don't necessarily want to do, but I'm like, man, like if I can just be present, and it's actually helped a lot. I've been able to like really enjoy work more, and doing stuff like this, it's like really listening and like understanding the value of just the small things for people, like the little things in life. I really believe those are some of the biggest moments, biggest takeaways.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, it's just like being grateful for what's right in front of you, so that when those big moments do happen, you're completely present, so you can appreciate that fully and not let it pass you by. Like, I feel like for a lot of my life, I was constantly looking for this big thing to happen, for the next like exciting thing, that I missed all the in between, because I was so focused on something else happening, and that other thing, like, it wasn't going to make me happy. It wasn't going to make me like, it would make me maybe feel excited for like a day, and then I would go on to, I need something else.
It's a satisfaction thing.
Yeah, exactly. And like, we live in a society where it's really all about like the next best thing, like always doing something, always being on the run, always rushing. But I've lived that way for a while, and it's like slowing down. It's like you can finally breathe. And I'm like, I don't feel like I have to keep like searching for something to fulfill something within me, because I can just be completely fulfilled and present in this moment, and that's all that matters.
Absolutely. That's important.
Yeah.
That's awesome. I'd
Yeah,
like to learn more
thanks.
about that Reiki
I
stuff,
will
and
Reiki, I will talk to you more about it.
I'm gonna
Read
check out your blog.
read my blog post. Yes.
Absolutely. Well, guys, what's going on in the chat? I see we got 5 people listening now. Anybody got any other questions for Nikki? She dropped some really good gems today. The Okay, hey, Bishop says, how do you feel about reincarnation slash lifetime of a soul?
Ooh, that's a good question.
Shout out to Bishop. Hold up, let me
Shout
get.
out Bishop.
Go ahead, Bishop. Go ahead.
I personally
Yes,
believe in reincarnation, and I believe in past lives. I Past lives is something that I'm really getting into. I just read a really good book called Many Lives, Many Masters, and that's about a psychologist who starts seeing a patient and puts her into hypnosis. Oh my God, I can't talk. I get so excited. Puts her into hypnosis to like help with her phobias and anxiety, and she ends up getting hypnotized and like remembering all these past lives. While I don't really identify with a religion, I've been learning a lot more about Buddhism, and Buddhism believes in reincarnation and that in karma, and that we are reincarnated. Yeah, it's something like I don't really know exactly what I believe in, but I do know different beliefs that I resonate with. I do think that the whole thing with past lives is there's certain people that you live many lives with. Like, I think that people that I really do strongly connect with, I've lived with in other lives. And that sort of, maybe it does bring me comfort just because.
Uh-oh. Why does it bring Nikki comfort? Oh no. Poor connection. What's happening? I think it has to do with our Wi-Fi in our basement is really not that great either. But while we're here, y'all go ahead and check out Nikki's uh, Instagram. She's got a whole lot of good photos on here, good pictures. You know, this is her blog, Naturally Nicoletta. Oh. All right, I'm gonna get her on here just for a few more minutes to kind of wrap things up. She uh-oh. All right, well, what's going on in the chat, guys? How we doing? Everybody still here? Who we at? Man, we back up to 6 people watching now. What's good? What's good? All right, there she is.
Hi, I don't know what
Hey.
happened.
Yeah, I
It
don't know.
was
It's
it
fine.
was a spirit that wanted to come in
Yeah,
because I was
he
talking
didn't.
about past lives.
Yeah, they didn't want you to share that information. You were literally like, because, and then it cut off.
Who knows?
Bishop says cliffhanger.
Yeah.
All right,
Well,
so what were you saying?
I believe in past lives and I believe in reincarnation. I think that karma is real, and if we live in a way of with good intentions and we live through love and we live just having compassion for others and finding our dharma or our life purpose, then we're going to reincarnate into something beautiful. It might be another human again, but I do think that we have lessons that go through lives, and if we don't learn it this lifetime, we'll just learn it another lifetime. So there's always work to be done. But short
Absolutely.
answer, yes, I do believe in them.
Yeah. Well, Nikki, man, it has been a pleasure having you on here as my second guest. Oh, here we go. Oh. She froze. She froze. Oh.
Yes.
All right, she's back. Okay, cool. Yeah, it has been a pleasure having you
Okay,
on here.
sorry.
No, it's okay. As my second guest,
Yeah, it's been so amazing.
I appreciate you dropping all these valuable, things to say and your insight, especially on Maryland and moving out of Louisville. Everybody, let's clap it up for Nikki here. What's happening here? Let's give her a little. Yes, Sarsky. Let me get you on in here too.
yes,
Yes. Well, Nikki, do you have any last words? Any words of advice for the Louisville scene, Louisville creatives?
Just keep doing what makes you passionate, and don't let the fear of failure stop you, or the fear of what people are going to think, because when you're doing what you're passionate about, and if it's authentic to you, the right people are going to come into your life and they're going to support you no matter what. It's not about having everyone like you, it's about having the right people like you.
Mm.
So yeah, just keep doing what you're doing. And I think if you're passionate about something and if you truly love it and you're just authentically yourself, then people are going to pick up on that and they're going to want to support it. And yeah, yeah, it's been a pleasure. Thank you so much for having me. This is my very first podcast and I'm
Oh,
really excited about it. I
oh
hope to be
yes.
on many more.
Yes, absolutely. Well, I appreciate you tuning in. And guys, let's Bishop's giving you the claps and Julia says woohoo, thanks Nikki. Guys, I
Thanks,
appreciate y'all
everyone.
tuning into the chat and tuning in. I'm gonna hang on here for a few more minutes. I'm about to hang up. I'm about to hang up on you, Nikki. But but I'm gonna just talk about a few more things about what's coming up next week and what's going on. So, but Nikki, great to hear from you. Great to
Thanks,
see your
Cab.
beautiful face on here and you sharing all your wonderful talents. And
Yes, of course.
hopefully I'll see you soon. All right.
Yeah, of course.
All
Bye,
right.
everyone.
Yeah. See you, Nikki. Be safe.